Ladies and gentlemen, I just went to the movie theaters for the first time in forever because my girlfriend randomly texted me that she got us tickets for Wicked. And I've never seen Wicked. I've never really known much about it. As a matter of fact, it's been years since I've even seen The Wizard of Oz. So stepping back into Oz land, or whatever you call it, for a movie is new, and admittedly, it's not my genre of movie. I think that is pretty obvious. I'm not really the target demographic of that movie, but doesn't really matter. I wanted to talk about this movie because it is one that really stuck with me. And if you're anything like me and would have never thought you'd see Wicked, well, I'm here to report it's actually a very good movie, all criticisms and all that stuff aside. Not that there really was much. I know Wicked has a very, very large fan base, and now I understand why that's the case. The story itself is really, really solid. And I really do feel like this movie is one of, or I should say this story, because it's been out since the 90s with the Broadway show and everything, is one that, you know, it really originated that idea that villains can have these backstories that are meaningful. This is one of the first projects that did something like that in a truly compelling way, albeit, yes, it was through books and Broadway, so the medium wasn't the same, but now bringing it to screen is really special. And I have to say, seeing it really does feel like the movie was just giving an homage to the Broadway show. I've never seen it, so I don't really know the ins and outs of it, but I gotta tell you, it was one of those musicals that is just, it felt like it was really celebrating Broadway as a whole. It felt really Broadway. I don't know how else to describe that, but I do think this movie can be one that anyone can go into with open eyes, open heart, or whatever you call it, and come out really enjoying it. The runtime's 2 hours and 40 minutes, and they're spanning, I think, if I've heard correctly, they're spanning the story of Wicked into a couple parts, or maybe a trilogy, I'm not sure, but I know this was Wicked Part 1, and apparently there's more to it that's going to come from the next part of this movie. And I really do. I think everything that we got from this first one was just very strong. It was fun to watch. The musical numbers were great. Now, I fully understand the appeal. I got to tell you, I used to do not Broadway. I used to do musicals when I was in high school, and even in middle school and things like that. I used to do them all the time. So now seeing this one that is so widely celebrated and almost has like this cult-like following just brought to the flesh, I completely get the hype. This one felt like a Disney production. Felt like a Disney fireworks show or something. I don't know how else to explain it, but the numbers were really good. The music numbers, they were done really well on screen, and from what I understand, a lot of this movie was done through practical effects. I understand a lot of it was also blue screen, especially towards the end when you're looking at numbers like Defying Gravity or something like that, which is the ending act of the show. So I do realize that exists too, but things like the train in this, that was real. A lot of the sets were real. And it's great to see that they did that. And from what I heard, which is an even bigger marvel to me, is they recorded the audio for the musical numbers. And you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I did hear this from, I think they put out like a behind the scenes thing, and I've heard it online. They recorded these songs live action like you would hear when you go to see the show on Broadway. So what that means is essentially, and I don't even understand how they did this, let alone I don't even understand how they had the microphone equipment to do something like this. It blew my mind the whole time I was watching this scene. There was one scene in particular with Cynthia Erivo. There's this long shot of her where she's singing after she goes into Shiz University, which is the college of where I guess they go. I don't know, but she's excited about her future, and she goes off this cliff and sings, and then the camera pans away. And my whole time I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, if this is true, if they really did record these songs live in the flesh, how on earth did they do that? Where was the microphone? Where was it? Now, again, I could be wrong. Maybe a song like that where they have those wide shots, they record them in a studio and then they do them after the fact. It's entirely possible that some of the numbers were recorded live and others weren't. That's kind of where my thought is with that, because I just don't get it. If anyone is an audio technician, if anyone is an audiophile, I would love to know. But these are the things that really kept me enthralled in the movie. Not only was the story phenomenal, where we get to see this backstory, essentially, of how the Wicked Witch of the West, which is Albie, I forget the name, I'm sorry, but how she kind of was actually a good person, but society propagandized her essentially into becoming the villain. This story is phenomenal. Doesn't matter what you like, doesn't matter what demographic it's going for. This is a story that anyone could watch and thoroughly enjoy, as I did. I went in completely blind. I loved it. But not only was the acting and all of that stuff great, it was just the way it was done. The colors in the movie, the practical sets, the audio, everything, it came together very well. And it was one of those experiences that you have in a movie theater where you come out of it kind of shocked at the production, kind of, just enthralled. It makes you love going to the cinema. It makes you love watching movies in a theater. This production had all of it. And I will say, everyone is hyped about Ariana Grande. That's one thing, she's a pop star. Everyone knows her name and all that, but I didn't even care for her in this movie at all. Galinda is her name in the movie. I did not care for her at all. She did a great job. I'm not saying she didn't. She did a phenomenal job. Her singing was phenomenal. Her musical numbers, her acting, all of it was there. It was really good. But my God, Cynthia Erivo stole the movie. Like, absolutely stole the movie. Her role was just so unbearably strong. It was insane. And I guess that's the whole point. Obviously, you're setting up the backstory to the Wicked Witch of the West. I totally get that. I really do. But my God, talk about perfect casting. She was the perfect Wicked Witch of the West ever. Just so good. She did a phenomenal job, and she has fucking pipes, man. Her voice is incredible. And that's why I bring up the whole Ariana Grande thing, not to compare the two, because they're both, I think, in their caliber, some of the best singers. They're great singers. But my God, Cynthia Erivo, she can fucking sing. She's so good. Every musical number she was in, she stole it. Every single one of them. The performance, she stole it. She was born to play this role in a movie. She killed it. And now, again, like I said, I get the hype. I really do. I'm not going to bore you with the details of the story at this point. I already kind of went through them. It's essentially about the Wicked Witch of the West and how they made her the villain, even though she's really a good person. And that story unfolds through the tale of her and Galinda going through college together. And some atrocities ensue in the sense that they discover that the Wizard of Oz is essentially trying to take away the rights of animals who could talk. Interesting plot, whatever, doesn't matter. The storyline that follows is just very good. It's a genuinely good human story, and it's one that I like because it didn't have any woke nonsense in it. It didn't feel like it was trying to shove a political ideology down your throat. It just felt like a celebration of what makes Broadway so special, and something that I've always really loved. And I think this show, or this movie I should say, did a phenomenal job at that. I hope you go get the chance to see it. I know my channel is not the demographic for this movie at all, but this movie defies demographics. It's just a very good movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. After, this is one of those things, obviously, I'm sure you guys can relate, where you look at it, you're like, I'm not watching that. It's not really for me. Give it a chance. I promise. If you have the chance to see it and you're thinking about seeing it, I do recommend checking it out. Is it the best movie I've ever seen? No, but it's definitely one of the best musical adaptations that I've ever seen in movie form. It could be the best. I'm a little biased. Tenacious D is my favorite movie musical of all time, but if we're talking about real Broadway movie musical adaptations, this is probably the best one. Sweeney Todd was really good too, but this one felt more like a genuine celebration of Broadway, which is what makes these movie adaptations of musicals so special to begin with. So those are my thoughts on Wicked. If you haven't gone out to see it, definitely check it out. I know this is unconventional for my channel, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you've seen it, leave a comment down below. With all that out of the way, we'll be back to regularly scheduled programming soon. And until the next one, I will talk to you later. Peace out.